For quite some time now, we've been telling you all that they were going to start attacking Walt. Dear old Walt Disney, who can no longer defend himself, that's who they want to go after. And we've been saying that they were going to attack Walt Disney because they need some reason to make you hate the original Snow White so that you will accept the new Snow White, the Rachel Zegler Snow White, the Snow White don't need any man Snow White. And folks, we're here to tell you that the attacks have begun just as we predicted. We're going to show you one such attack, break down is it true, is it false, and let you decide. Let's dive in right now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the channel that is changing pop culture one video at a time, and gleefully so. Today we are taking a look at an article that is falling straight into that mold we've been telling you about. What is the mold? Well, the mold is attack Walt Disney, malign his character, make him out to be a bad, bad man, part of that terrible, terrible patriarchy, and make you despise him and Snow White, the original film that he created, so that you'll like the new stuff, modern Disney, the Bob Iger Company, and you just might even like Rachel Zegler and the new Snow White movie coming out. We're going to start off with the article right here out of Collider, this by Jacob Slankard. And folks, we're not here to be mean to Jacob or anything like that. Jacob may believe everything that's been written, but we're going to take a look at this. As we get into the article, what I would recommend, folks, is weigh in your mind why this article exists. Because typically what happens is you've either got breaking news that the news needs to cover, or there's something that's been in the news that, well, somebody wants to weigh in their opinion, give an editorialized take on it, or perhaps there's some historical purpose for covering something. Why is it that they're covering this today? And we'll walk you through it all. Despite a Wizard of Oz cameo, Snow White's voice actress was blackballed by Disney. Oh my gosh. This is going to make it seem like Walt Disney was abusive and mean and cruel to the original actress who played Snow White. This despite her never having alleged such a thing. This despite her having a great affinity for Walt Disney, the man, not just the company. This despite her being a Disney legend and having participated in so much promotional material for the company later on. Here's what we've got. The Wizard of Oz is not just a great film, but a piece of pop culture with universal appeal and lasting influence on mainstream storytelling. That's sort of the, that's what gets the article going to kind of give it some cover. Adriana Caselotti, the voice of Snow White, was made a small cameo in The Wizard of Oz, highlighting her talent and connection to two iconic films. That's really what we're wanting to go after. And then finally, here's what gets people to click. Walt Disney's decision to prevent Caselotti from publicly acknowledging her role as Snow White damaged her career and limited her opportunities in the industry. Review again. Despite a Wizard of Oz cameo, Snow White's voice actress was blackballed by Disney. Blackballed by Disney is clearly the thing that is intended for you to want to read this article. So let's read it. That's what they wanted, so we're going to read it together and we're going to explain it. It's an understatement to claim that The Wizard of Oz is one of the greatest films ever made, as it's somehow more than that. It's one of the most famous pieces of pop culture, bar none. It's potentially been influential on almost every mainstream story told in Hollywood to this very day. And it's perhaps one of the few films in history that has a genuinely universal appeal to it that makes it near impossible to truly be dated. It's sweet and optimistic in its depiction of friendship and growth without being saccharine, while still acknowledging the potential dangers that come with exploring new parts of your life. What can make a film that's already so rosy and whimsical that much more practically perfect in every way? It's simple. You add Snow White. All right, let's get to the real reason for being here. We call that a puff paragraph, folks. That's how they get you to read, so you'll see an ad before you get to the real part. That is what the article is all about. Where is Snow White in The Wizard of Oz? All right, we're not going to read this part because it's just telling you where you can hear Adriana Caselotti, who is not, by the way, playing Snow White. But now we get to the part where they want us to go to. Who is Adriana Caselotti? Adriana Caselotti was a woman who lived her life with a devotion to music, having grown up with an opera singer mother and father who was a music teacher and vocal coach. Her dad is the person who largely influenced and taught Adriana how to sing and get her involved in the world of music. She eventually went to Hollywood High School, where she did musical activities like the Glee Club and starring in a musical. When she was 18, she caught wind that her father was on the phone with Roy Scott, Disney's casting director, who was asking her father if he knew of any young girls with good opera singing voices. Adriana immediately pushed her father to vouch for her. And so once he put in a good word, she got the chance to audition for Walt Disney himself. But how did that go? We'll find out. Not that she would have known, as he was hidden behind a screen the entire audition. to concentrate on the voice without being distracted by the singer's appearance. Her audition consisted of her proving her singing chops and selling her voice acting as that of a naive and pure soul. It also helps that she lied about her age, claiming to be 16 when she was not. She was 18, which proved to be a knockout combination. Now, here's where we get into the good stuff. One important note to keep in mind, Adriana essentially had no idea what was really going on. By that, she didn't know that she was auditioning for a feature-length film because there were no animated feature-length films at this time. Let's get into the big claim. So this is what you've got to read the whole thing so that all the ads scroll by. They want you to read, and here's where we go. Walt Disney damaged Adriana's career by muzzling her, despite the fact that he gave her her career. Okay, she was an 18-year-old girl, and he gave her the biggest job in the world. In most circumstances, becoming the voice actor for the main character of one of the most important films in history would lead to an avalanche of future work and appreciation for your talents. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you that wasn't the case in the 1920s, 1930s, because that's not how it worked. They wanted to keep these actors secret and hidden. Now, the industry knew who they were, but outside the industry, that wasn't the way things worked because they wanted to maintain the illusion. And you can still see remnants of that, of course, today with the Disney characters at Disney parks, where the people who play those characters aren't allowed to say that they play them. They're supposed to say that they are their friends. And of course, that's the same spirit still continuing on today. Not so much. For starters, voice actors weren't credited for their work in projects at the time, and so no one in the public knew who voiced Snow White or the Prince or the Evil Queen. Again, though, folks, in the industry they did. Even worse, Walt Disney insisted on maintaining the illusion of the characters being real. Same thing as with the characters that we see in the parks today. He would continuously prevent Adriana from publicly acknowledging her role as Snow White, same as the company still does today if you are playing a character in a park. For instance, when legendary comedian Jack Benny wanted to bring Adriana onto his show as a guest star, Disney nixed it and was quoted as saying, "I'm sorry, but that voice can't be used anywhere. I don't want to spoil the illusion of Snow White." This also meant that she was barred from voice acting in any other Disney projects so that her voice would only be associated with Snow White. She got the Faustian deal of a lifetime in the most literal sense. Well, that's interesting, is it? Because, ladies and gentlemen, guess what old Pro has? That's right, Pro has the IMDb page for Adriana Caselotti, which apparently Collider was unable to acquire. It must be just so obscure and exclusive. How in the world could they have ever checked it? And what do we find out if we go into her IMDb list of all her credits? Well, we find out that she was also a singer on the Donald's Ostrich short in 1937, which also means that she would have been paid additionally in that same year that she played Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So that amount that we were told that she was paid, probably double that. And then guess what else we find out? In 1944, at the height of the war, during World War II, when work was hard to come by and everybody was desperate for money, Donald's Day Off, or Donald's Off Day by Walt Disney again, Walt brought her back to play a singer in the opening song, which means that she got paid again. So that happening in 1944. So this claim that she was barred from any other Disney projects, all you had to Google it. You just had to Google it, and you know that's wrong. And not only would you know it's wrong, but you would know that it's so wrong because Walt not only kept her working for him, but he also gave her projects at a time when she needed it most and when most people needed it most. So this just isn't false. This is anti-truthful. This isn't just giving you something that's incorrect. It's giving you something that is absolutely the opposite of what the truth is. It's not absent the truth. It's leading you in the complete opposite direction. And it's doing that to malign Walt Disney. This led to her essentially getting no film work for the rest of her career. Well, now, wait a minute. She was in It's a Wonderful Life? Oh. Okay. Getting no film work for the rest of her career, seemingly because she couldn't vouch for her services by reminding casting directors that she was Snow White. Actually, she could, and actually everybody in the industry would have known that. And it's possible that some casting directors knew she was Snow White and knew better than to cast her. Why would they have thought that? There's absolutely no, that's stupid. That's pure speculation. Yes, it is. As we all know for sure, For all we know for sure is that she had only had a handful of uncredited film roles throughout the rest of her career, except for being in a Disney short that has her name on it and other roles. Besides her Wizard of Oz role, for which she was paid $100, her other notable film appearance was in It's a Wonderful Life, appearing in Martini's Bar with George Bailey. Eventually, she went back to living a normal life until the 1970s. Fails to point out that that's what she wanted to do. She wasn't blackballed from the industry. She was given multiple opportunities from Disney and paid for it and brought back with Disney and made into a Disney legend. The Disney Corporation started working with her to publicly promote Snow White-related events, such as its 1987 re-release. Well, they wanted to promote Snow White, and so they went back to the original actress and asked her to be a part of that. She was named a Disney legend in 1994 when she was 78 years old. It goes on to talk about this. But folks, here's the bottom line. Look at this. Walt Disney damaged Adriana's career by muzzling her. The title, despite a Wizard of Oz cameo, Snow White's voice actress was blackballed by Disney. And the truth is, that's not what happened at all. And the single piece of evidence they have is that Walt Disney did not want her to appear as herself on a radio show doing the voice of Snow White because he thought it would break the illusion, something the company still continues to this day, just not with voice actors, but rather for the people who play the roles inside the parks. You won't see the people who play Mickey Mouse or Snow White or any of the other characters appearing on TV as themselves, talking about playing those characters in the parks because it breaks the illusion. Now, that changed with voice acting, but it still remains the same in that other case. All the author had to do was Google this and would have realized that not only did Disney continue to give her work, but did so at a time when the studio was on the verge of collapse due to the World War, which had put a major squeeze on everybody. And yet there's the evidence that Walt is taking care of the actress who played his first feature-length film leading role, taking care of her family, giving her a job. Walt was a good person for doing that. And that article wishes to malign him and make you think otherwise. Why do they want to do that? Well, I would posit that it comes down to something like what's happening with Tesla right now. I'm not a Elon Musk cheerleader nor an Elon Musk stan, but I don't like when people tell mistruths or they mislead people. You've probably heard that there are millions of Teslas being recalled right now. That's all over the mainstream media. The reality is that it's an on-air update. In other words, it's over the air. You do nothing, and it updates while it sits in your garage overnight. That's the quote-unquote recall. People could just say in the mainstream media that there's a software update. But because technically, based on the car industry and a technicality that has to do with the car industry, that is called a recall. It's a grandfathered-in term from decades ago. Because of that, the mainstream media gets away with saying, oh my gosh, so, almost every Tesla is being recalled. They do this like every month with updates. Why do they do that? Why do they phrase it that way? Because they want you to think that Tesla is crashing, burning, destroyed, over. Elon Musk, bad guy. And why do they tell you that Snow White, Adriana Casalati, was blackballed by the industry despite every single thing pointing the other way? Because they want to slime Walt. Why do they want to slime Walt? Because they want you to like modern Disney better. It's a tall order, though, and I don't think that it's going to work. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this video today. I hope that it elucidated the truth. I hope that it was an excellent opportunity for us to examine how the media works. If you like content like this, consider clicking the like button. Share, subscribe. When you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And are you amazed that an article such as this just needed to go to Google or IMDb? Frankly, we are not. Folks, Pro Show is live. If you're watching this video at the time of its release, Pro Show is live in just a little bit at noon Eastern. Of course, that's every Tuesday at noon Eastern now. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Wilton, you know you're not allowed in the kitchen. And, it smells like burning dog hair. What are you doing in here?
Well, I got a DM from Slade Wilson on how to roast Jonas. I mean, I didn't bother reading it. because I already have the perfect plan.
Wait a minute. So you're challenging Slade?
Well, not really. It's more like what Caffeine Kennedy and Kevin Feige do to Disney. A tag team of destruction. Plus, we're also making sure that everyone knows to subscribe to WDW Pro this Christmas.
Well, I appreciate you helping Pro, but doing one good thing does not make up for both of you doing a bad thing. Pro's making sure everyone gets accurate information and stays ahead of the culture curve, but, oh man, what is that smell? You're not really...
Oh, yeah, no, I'm literally roasting Jonas in the oven. I mean, I was kind of confused on where you were going with that line of questioning in the first place.
Roasting someone's a figure of speech. You don't actually cook them. Somebody. Oh my. Hang on, Jonas. Well, I hope you're happy about what you've done this Christmas, Wilton. You almost ended Jonas.
Well, on the brighter side, he looks great with that new tan. I guess you could say I gifted him a nice complexion.